Listeners, we've partnered with ClassicFootballShirts.com, where you can get your classic, rare, retro, vintage football shirts for your football team of your choice. I recommend a Parma kit. You know, there's some lovely options on the website. There's a referral link on our Twitter or in the description of the YouTube video. Click there, follow it through, and enjoy. I say Parma, get it on you. It looks lovely. They're from the 90s. Ooh. Listeners, welcome back to the almost award-winning podcast For The Fans show. I mean, boys, we didn't actually win.
I'm relieved. I mean, I don't have to dress up as a bull now.
Don't worry, I had a whole show planned out of features.
Jack,
luckily, we've got one of them today.
Are we not going to do that as a Christmas special?
Maybe.
How close did you come to winning Best Football Freestyler, Jack?
Close. I mean, my mum voted for me.
What, in that category?
Yeah.
That's the problem. That is why we didn't win, your mum. So now we would like to say, though, thank you to everyone that voted. We had over 1,000 votes on Twitter alone. Probably millions more that did it on the website. But yeah, if you did vote, thank you very much. We do appreciate it. And, you know, there's always next year. We go again. So
we were beaten by those pesky Liverpool fans, weren't we, Ben?
Yeah, the Anfield ref are pretty good, though. So, you know, I'm not going to criticise them.
That was a good speech. I was almost glad that they got to read out the speech, to be fair. Because
the most disappointing thing was that Danny Webber presented the award. That's the worst bit for me. I've missed out on that.
Would that have been like a moment to remember in your life?
Jack, I've printed T-shirts with his face on. So
I mean, you could have given him one.
Yeah.
He calls
imagine how sorry, Jack. Imagine how creeped out it would have been if I went, "Yeah, thanks for my award," and Danny, this is for you, and just hand him a picture of his own face.
It would have been quite good to hand in the shirt, take the award, then, you know, like a new signing where the manager stands next to him, you're just stood there next to Danny Webber holding a shirt with his face on.
I like that.
You unbutton your shirt, Ben, and beneath that shirt is
rip
a
it
Danny
off.
Webber
I rip my
t-shirt.
shirt off. And just, you know, that'd be great. Anyway, then, boys, we do have a feature, not a show full of features this week. We'll talk about the Premier League in just a moment. Now, this week's feature it's multi-layered. I mean, good luck with this one,
boys. Like an onion.
In the Premier League, since 2010, January 2010, 23 nations have scored hat-tricks, by which I mean players for different nations have scored hat-tricks.
Since
23
when,
nations until January 2010. So the last sort of 6 years while you've been sort of, you know, living. Now, you get 2 points per answer. The way we're going to do it is I'm going to give you a country. You're going to tell me who scored a hat-trick for that country. You get 2 available passes, and we'll just go on to the next one.
There's more than one player scored for them, or are these going to be like the most obscure nations in the world?
No. So we're going through all of the nations, Jack. So we're working our way down the list, essentially.
Oh, okay, so it's harder.
But you get 2 passes, 2 points for every correct answer. If you get it wrong, the other person has a chance to steal for an additional 1 point. We go until all the nations have been gone through.
This is going to be a long feature by
potentially
my calculations.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay then, Kino, we're starting with you.
Oh God!
And England, isn't it? It's going to be something stupid.
The country is Algeria. Now, of course, you've got 2 passes. You can use them now or later. But once your passes are up, you're out.
Okay, I'm with you. Algeria. I think I'm going to save my pass.
Okay.
And since
going with
is Mahrez too logical here?
Well, this is what I'm thinking. I'm not sure. Is he? Yeah, we'll go with Mahrez.
It was December last year, and he did get a hat-trick indeed against Swansea City. So a point. That's 2 points. So Kino, Jack, over to you. Some of these are obviously easier than others. Jack gets a particularly easy one here. Argentina, Jack, for 2 points.
See, the obvious one is Aguero, but I that's boring. So I'm going to say Tevez.
With 4 hat-tricks, Carlos Tevez is a correct answer.
How many does Aguero have? Just curious.
Aguero has 5 hat-tricks.
That's a lot of hat-tricks.
That is a lot of hat-tricks. So 2 points to Jack. The other player you could add is Maxi Rodriguez. Got a couple for Liverpool. Kino, Belgium.
Romelu Lukaku.
Correct. Actually had the most recent hat-trick in the Premier League. 2 points for you. You could have had Benteke. You could have had Eden Hazard as well. Jack, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bosnia.
There's only one player it could be, I think.
Yeah.
It's got to be Dzeko, surely.
2 points to Jack so far. 4-4. You're doing very well, boys.
100% record so far.
Kino, over to you. Bulgaria.
Ooh.
I feel like this is an easier one than mine.
Is it?
Kino doesn't think so.
I think it is.
You can pass, remember?
Yeah, I'll pass.
He's passing. The correct answer, 4 hat-tricks for Manchester United.
Berbatov.
Dimitar Berbatov. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You don't get
of
it, Jack,
course.
sorry.
There was so much enthusiasm.
He's passed. He's passed to Cameroon.
Oh. Well, I mean, Samuel Eto'o.
January 2014
Yeah.
for Chelsea. Samuel Eto'o.
But
I
like,
wasn't sure whether he
line
actually
of
did
think-
get a hat-trick
the line
because
of-
he wasn't too successful.
The line of thinking here is it's just like, who's like a striker of that nationality who's played in the Premier League?
Troy. Do you remember Troy for West Brom? Do you remember? It was spelled with a T. T-C-H-O-Y.
Oh, yes, I do. Yeah,
He also got one against Newcastle in a 3-3. Jack, over to you. You've still got 2 passes remaining. Chile.
I'm really. I mean, Sanchez has to have one, but then I'm really worried it's like too obvious.
Okay.
But it's Sanchez. I can't think of who else it could be.
He was in my fantasy team that week. It was in the 5-2 versus Leicester last year. So, yeah, correct. It's Chile. So he's the only one to score on for Chile as well. Keane, over to you. The DR Congo.
Oh. Huh.
You've got 1 pass remaining if you'd like to use it.
Yeah, I feel like I want...
Are these all alphabetically? Like, there's a lot of the alphabet left over.
Yeah. But then not every nation's got a letter, Jack. There's no X involved.
Is there not?
No.
Disappointed.
I'm not sure. I'm going to have to pass.
These passes are gone now.
Can I?
So, okay, interesting.
I think I might know who this is.
Okay, you don't get a point, but go on.
Is it Yannick? I can't think
It
who
is
else
Yannick.
it would be.
It's Yannick Bolasie.
Scarily good.
Correct. Scarily good. And you've passed, Kino, to England.
Maybe it's a good pass then.
See, I'll just say
Most amount of hat-tricks in the Premier League.
Wayne Rooney.
Wayne Rooney is correct. It's got about 4 or 5. You could have had Theo Walcott, Andy Carroll, Kevin Nolan, Adam Johnson,
Gabby Agbonlhor.
Charlie Austin. Could have had Austin, Defoe.
Yes.
Agbonhor, not since 2010, Kino, no. Sorry. Not for some time.
I thought I'd check.
Okay, so 2 points
Asking
to you.
for a friend.
Jack, France. Still have 2 passes
French
remaining.
striker. I mean, the first name that jumps to my head is Giroud. But then he doesn't score that many.
Gets a lot of braces, Olivier Giroud.
He does. But did he get one against Villa? I think he might have done. Because I feel like we might have rubbed it in Kino's face. I'll say Villa. Well, not Villa, sorry. I'll say Giroud against Villa.
It was the final day of last season, Kino. Did he score a hat-trick?
I hope he did. I was like...
It was 4-0. He did score a hat-trick.
Okay.
By that point in the season, gents, I was totally...
Football didn't
Amazing.
exist.
Amazingly,
tuned out.
boys. Since 2010, only 1 other goal scorer, French goal scorer, to score a hat-trick. It was for Everton. Anyone have a little guess there? Bit of, this is a bit of
Everton.
knowledge. No, it was Louis Saha. Kino, over to you. No passes, Kino.
I'm sure Sahar's probably got a few in the Premier League.
And the
Since
country's Germany.
2010.
Germany, Kino. You've no passes remaining.
I'm
I'm going to have to start timing you as well. Yeah.
I feel like there haven't been that many Germans who have scored hat-tricks.
You'd be correct with that assessment.
And I don't
5,
think Ozil has one. We'll say
4,
Podolski when he was
3.
at Arsenal.
Incorrect,
that's gonna be
sadly.
mine.
Oh, I can't. I have to tell. Okay, well, Jack, you've got a point to steal here for the first time in the feature. Point to steal.
Ozil? No, I don't think he has.
Incorrect. The correct answer is Andre Schürrle. You got one for Schürrle.
That's a bit of a curveball, that one. I don't feel
So
like
no
that's one
points.
that many people would know.
Some of these are quite interesting. Okay, Jack, over to you. 2 passes. Ireland is the country.
Did Robbie Keane jumps? But was he still in England? 2010, right?
Yeah.
I'll say. I don't think he ever scored one for Liverpool. I think he moved to Liverpool in January of that year. But
5. I mean, you can pass, remember, but 5.
I'll say Robbie Keane. It's probably wrong, but I don't have a
Keane,
clue
chance
how
to
it
steal?
could be.
Chance to steal. Kino, there's 2 players that have got them.
Ireland.
Yeah.
No, that's not a player.
Stephen Ireland. What do you mean?
Shane Long.
Incorrect. The two correct
Oh, no,
answers
I've just thought of one.
are Leon Best and Jonathan Walters.
Yes, Walters.
We've got either of those.
Jack refused to pass there as well. Gave Kino the option. Who are we back to now, sorry? Kino.
Me.
Italy.
Uh,
A lot of hers today.
There
from
are. There's a lot
County.
of thinking involved in it.
Yeah. I've robbed the games with the features.
Graziano Pella.
Incorrect. The correct answer is actually Mario Balotelli.
Do I not get a chance
Manchester
to steal?
City. Sure, Jack. Chance to steal?
Mario Balotelli?
Point.
Yes.
No, because
You're
I've
not
ruined that one. No
Yeah,
points,
good.
Jack. Sorry. No. Kino was like, wait, you're not actually giving him the point. No,
Well,
I've messed that
just
up,
thought-
obviously. Jack, you get the point if you can tell me who it was against.
I don't know. This was when he was playing for City, right?
Yeah. Come on. Guess a team.
Blackpool.
No, it's Villa.
Of
Right.
course it was. I should have known that. I should have pieced it in my head that the fact that it was on offer meant it was against them.
Jack, Ivory Coast. Let's try and get this rolling, boys. Come on. Even if you're
Drogba.
right, it doesn't matter. Correct. Points on the board for Jack. Kino, Japan. And I realise Kino's had the rougher draw of this, I think. But yeah, go on. Japan.
Okazaki. You're right, I have. I feel like I get the rough draw.
Who are you going with, sorry?
Okazaki.
No, the correct answer is
Kagawa.
Shinji Kagawa. It was, Jack got that. I'll give you the point. Sorry, I ruined it
I
again.
knew what you were about to
My
do,
bad.
so I
Yeah.
had to shout it.
It was against Norwich, so I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Jack, the Netherlands.
Oh, come on.
I mean, Van Persie.
God's sake.
You could also add Dirk Kuyt and Wijnaldum, who got one for Newcastle. But points for Jack there.
Are you keeping
Kino,
track of points, or are we just
Nigeria,
assuming that I'm
Kino.
winning at this point?
You are winning quite comfortably. Nigeria, Kino.
Um,
I'm going to start giving you more of a clue. Two players have scored hat tricks. Not in recent memory, but since 2010.
oh, that makes it even worse.
Sorry.
I don't know.
Okay, Jack, Steele.
Yakubu, and I'm basing this off the fact it's his birthday today. He's the only Nigerian striker I can think of to play in the Premier League since 2010.
For Blackburn in 2011, you get a point.
Okay, well, happy birthday, Yakubu, too.
The other player was Peter Odemwingie.
Apparently he's only 36. I don't believe
No, he's
that.
not. No, he's not. Russia, Jack.
Oh, you've got a tough one, Jack.
Actually, I know this one, and I know this one. Oh, no, I think
I do know
think-
it as well.
it's Arshavin, but now I'm wondering in my head, is that 2008 or 9?
All right, I'm taking that
I'll
as your
say,
answer. It's
I'll say it.
incorrect.
The reason I know that Arshavin scored a hat-trick is because it was a midweek game against Liverpool, and I turned
Yeah,
to my
it
dad
was.
and
He scored
said
4.
they were emphasising Arshavin, and I said to my dad, he's done fuck all this year, he's going to be terrible, and he scored 4 that game.
Yeah, he did. Kino, that was incorrect. So with a chance to steal a point,
I mean, I bet he thought it was
I thought
Arshavin.
it
He
was
said it
Arshavin
was
as
it's
well.
not Arshavin. Sorry.
Pavlyuchenko, lol.
No, it was the other one. It was Pavel Pogrebniak.
Oh,
So close yet so far. Jack, Scotland. No, sorry. Kino, Scotland.
I know one for this one.
Scotland.
I'm just having such a mind blank this feature.
I feel like you've gotten a roll of mind blanks. I know one.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, well, I'm testing you with a feature. Come on.
Oh,
Listen, we haven't got many more to go, boys. We've got like 5 more to go.
who's
Scotland.
Scottish?
He scored.
Scotland.
I know this guy. I'll give you a clue. He moved clubs in January. I hope it's right now, but I feel like it is because I remember him scoring it last year.
I mean,
Oh.
Jack's right.
Snodgrass?
No, Jack, it is for a point.
It's Naismith.
It's Stephen Naismith at Everton against Chelsea. Jack's not even used his passes as well.
I have got a few wrong, to be fair. So.
Jack, Senegal.
I mean, Mane, he got the fastest hat trick in
Yeah.
Premier League
He
history
did,
last
yeah.
year.
You could have had Demba Ba as well, but yeah, you are correct with Mane. Spain, Kino.
Guess who that hat trick was against?
That was against Villa.
Common trend
Spain,
emerging
Kino.
here about hat
Spain,
tricks.
Kino. Spain.
Diego Costa.
2 points. That's the first time you've had points for ages.
Give him 2
but
for
yeah,
it.
You also could
Can I
have had
have three?
Torres.
Can I
You
have
could
3
have
points?
If you can name, well, Torres was another one. There was 2 others. If you can name them, I'll give you an extra point.
As
Jordi Gomez and
Cazorla, Shirley.
correct.
yeah, I was going
Jack,
to say Cazorla, but I had no.
United States of America.
Ah. Right. Americans who have played in the Premier... Well, it's not Tim Howard, although he did score one. Oh, God.
What, a hat-trick?
I know, well, he obviously didn't score a hat-trick, did he? But that'd be impressive. When a keeper does that, I'll be amazed.
This is. I should say, folks, we've just broken the record for the longest feature ever. That's because we were nearly winners of an FBA award. This is a treat.
Can I come in with the steal?
Is it... I'm going to say Dempsey because I just can't think of anyone else.
2 points to Jack.
That's what I was going to say.
Late doors.
I honestly couldn't think of anyone. I was going around in my head.
For Fulham, 2012. Keno, it's time for you to get an easy one, I think. This player has 6 hat-tricks, and the team is... Well, the nation is Uruguay.
Luis Suarez.
Incorrect. It's Gaston Ramirez.
How many of them were against Norwich? Do you know? I'm curious.
3.
Oh God! Oh, 6.
Unbelievably, not a single one against Villa. Shockingly, and Jack, finally for you, Wales. Since 2010.
Did Bale get a hat trick, or is it going to be someone like Robson Carney?
Joe Allen.
Joe Allen?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember him getting one for Liverpool, if I'm honest.
It could be a
I
number
feel
of
like
people.
Bale's the logical one, so I'm just going to say
Ramsey.
Bale. I feel like if it's Bale and I didn't get it, I'll never live it down, whereas
It was,
if it's not him.
Jack, don't milk
It was a 4-0 on Boxing Day, 2012. Were you there, Keno?
It's against Villa. It's against Villa.
Was it away? It was away at Villa Park.
It was Villa Park.
Yeah.
No, who was it though?
It was Gareth Bale.
Oh, okay.
So the points do go to Jack. So the scores on the door, we have Keno with, unbelievably, Keno, 12 points. I mean, I know, you did get 2 per answer. Jack, on the other hand, with 12, 8, 23 points. And I mean, well done, Jack. 23. Oh, no, sorry, 25 points.
Oh.
Take it back. So congratulations to you, Jack. You win this week's feature. Ba-dum-bum-bum.
Is there a prize this week?
It's actually 21 points. I got it completely wrong. No, there's no prize, but much like the FBA Awards, you were a close second.
Keno's not suffered a defeat that bad since Villa last season.
Yeah,
Was that
or from the number of hat-tricks that were scored against Villa. In fact, I'm just going to check now, just for the purposes of... what was this? There were 7 hat-tricks scored against Aston Villa in the Premier League since 2010, the most of any club.
I was going to say, how many hat-tricks in total were there?
A lot.
89. So quite a lot, actually.
That's quite a lot.
Yeah. Right then, folks, that does bring us to the end of this week's feature. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, let's get on to some Premier League action. And we're going to start with a team that haven't scored a hat-trick for some time, Tottenham Hotspur. I'm sure Harry Kane's probably got 1 or 2, though. They've beaten West Ham 3-2. And it was a funny old game, Keno. Funny old game.
I put in the running order, this kind of reminded me of the game that begun the weekend, which was United-Arsenal, in the sense that both teams didn't really play that well, and they kind of fell over themselves to lose or, give the other team a result. It was a funny game. I didn't think in the first half Spurs looked anywhere near as good as they sort of should do, considering where they are in the league. I know their form's been bad, but you would have expected a little bit more, especially at home, and they've got a big game coming up as we record this tonight in the Champions League. So you would have expected them to be on it, and they were really off the pace for the first hour. I thought Lloris played very well for them, and I did feel a little bit sorry on the flip side for West Ham, who can't buy a win at the moment. It was sort of a back and forth game, very much so.
Yeah, it's surprising that, I think, by and large anyway, it's surprising that West Ham, well, I wouldn't say for large parts, for parts of this game, looked like the better team. Tottenham at home have been very good under Pochettino. This was the first time not for a while anyway, that I can remember, that Spurs were properly tested, really had to dig out, essentially, a last-minute win, Jack.
Yeah, and I think the painful thing for West Ham is it was so close, and, their next 2 games, it's not going to be any easier for them. I think on the flip side for Spurs, it was a very inspired performance, actually, by them, the way they fought until kind of the bitter end. They pegged, obviously, West Ham back twice. I thought the goal for Lanzini, the penalty, I was actually happy that was given as a penalty by Janssen, just because you see that so much this year, and obviously there was a big thing made at the start of the season about players...
was it Mike Dean again, this game?
I can't remember, actually. Was it Mike? I want to find out now, but... There was a lot made. There was a lot made at the start of the season, wasn't there, about kind of the whole don't have your hands on attackers and stuff.
It was Mike Dean, by the way.
And not a lot happened really this year that's kind of shown that change. And this was one of the first times where it's like finally someone's actually made one of those decisions.
But if there's a referee that's going to make a point of these are the rules and we'll play by the rules, that is Mike Dean.
He's like the substitute teacher who actually sticks to the teaching plan.
Mike Dean's the only referee who has actually taken those sort of rule changes to heart. I think it was his 10th penalty in as many games last night or 2 nights ago. And he also did some amazing Mike Dean gestures. I don't know. He loves the gesture. Go and find the Vine.
Well, no, the thing is, right, this could be any Vine because of Mike Dean. Because there are loads of Mike Dean Vines where he's just loving it. Is he your favourite Premier League referee? Do we have a favourite Premier League referee?
I quite like Mariner.
Do you?
Yeah,
What about him?
Just think he's not a bad referee, and I feel like a lot of them are quite bad.
What about that bit when he sent off Kieran Gibbs when it was Chamberlain?
That was pretty bad. Everyone's made that mistake at some point.
I think I have 2 favourites currently. I think Michael Oliver is the best referee.
I don't like Michael Oliver's face though. He's got a very slappable face as Michael Oliver.
Yeah, and another slappable face is Big Clatts, Mark Clattenburg, just because he's like the refereeing version of Pardew.
Well, yeah, he is because he does his hair. That's what we're basing it on. He's obviously he's gelling his hair more so than warming up.
It's clear he really loves himself as well in the same way. I think historically, Mike Riley was a personal favourite just because he sort of. He looked like the annoying sort of slightly nerdy kid in the playground, sort of telling off all the big footballers.
Yeah, I do. Do you know? I never thought I'd say this, boys, but I miss Howard Webb a little bit. Yeah, there was a certain figure of order about Howard Webb. I mean, he looked
like the head teacher of the group, didn't he? If all referees were like teachers, he was like the head honcho.
I might have mentioned this on the podcast before, but Mark Clattenburg has a surprising voice.
I mean, care to elaborate?
Voice.
Yeah, it's soft South Shields.
I see.
It's like, okay, welcome, hello everybody, welcome to the football. It's a bit like that.
I mean, it sounds very strange. Sounds like a rugby referee.
You wait, I'll link you after the recording. You'll be mind blown at Mark Clattenburg.
I'm looking forward to this.
I mean, maybe you should put it in the show. Just play a little clip now of Mark Clattenburg. And listeners, this will shock you. This really is Mark Clattenburg.
The decision was quite easy. Once I've arrived at the ground at 10:30 for a pitch inspection, it was quite clear from walking on the pitch that it was severely waterlogged. I've took advice from various people within the stadium. We've got the groundsman who knows his pitch really well. We've got the weather forecast from the groundsman. He's been working on it since 7 o'clock this morning, and 4 hours and the water's not going anywhere, so it must be severely wet underneath, which is causing water not to leaving the pitch. And then I'm looking at the weather forecast, and the forecast is rain all afternoon. And
right, so there you are, boys. You've just had a listen. Thoughts?
I mean, I've got a new favourite.
I do. Yes, so do I. It's very much like someone we know as well, Ben, which I think is also funny.
So it's funny because when you think of him being sort of this arrogant referee, he's got the voice of sort of a helpline, which is different. Helpline voices are not particularly threatening. So, but he's got that in his locker, which I quite like.
Can I just say, we were asked to talk about West Ham Spurs here. It's the opening game. We've gone off the rails. But
I'm enjoying referees chat. Personally.
I mean, we should talk about more about referees and our favourites.
To bring it back to that particular penalty with Janssen, I agree with Jack in the sense that I was quite pleased that it was flagged up because he was not looking. It's one of those where he wasn't even looking at the ball and just grabbing the man so blatantly that it was definitely a penalty. And one of the things that Leicester say is that they've been suffering because of this rule change, this year, which we can talk about later. I don't think it's true, but very nice to see that actually being sort of pulled up by referees is something that's gone on for a while.
I think the thing I like about it is that when a player is caught up, when a player is very sort of obviously told that's a foul, there's no argument because they know they're doing it. They're just expecting to get away with it. So when they don't get away with it, there's sort of this guilty look of, oh no. It's happened. It's happened to me. So Harry Kane.
Antonio got his quick mention. He got his obligatory headed goal.
He loves it.
11 this calendar year.
But that's quite a lot, isn't it? That's more than Villa have conceded with hat tricks. 2 things to talk about on the Tottenham side of it, though. Winks gets himself a goal. Is it Harry Winks?
Yes.
Love that.
Great name.
I quite like the name Harry Winks as well. Yeah. Starting for Spurs in this team. Oh, yeah, I'm that. Dele Alli was on the bench as well.
But he was against West Ham, kind of current relegation candidates.
Yeah, but I think he's played like relatively. I would say he's played a lot this season for Spurs, but he's reached a few times.
He came on in the derby as well last week, 2 weeks ago. Pochettino seems to have a lot of trust in him. I loved his celebration for his goal, which obviously was a tap-in, but still a fantastic moment where he sort of ran just wild-eyed over to Pochettino and sort of just instinctively jumped into his arms, which I thought was great.
Yeah. He's 20 years of age. He's played for England at all sort of levels. He's played under 17 to under 21.
An exciting player.
Yeah, we may well see him in the first team. He's one of these players that may well come through, have a sort of a breakout season. It's his first year that he's had Premier League appearances, 5 this year for him. And could be one for the future. A player that's getting back to form, although still quite a young player, is Harry Kane. Finally gets himself 2 goals in a game. And I literally can't remember the last time he did that.
Well, he's got 5 goals in 7 this season. He's been a bit unfortunate with the injuries, and I think it's been a little bit deceptive. Obviously, 2 goals has substantially helped him out in this game. But I feel like there was a lot made very early on in the season about kind of Harry Kane. He's collapsing, Janssen isn't up to scratch. Are Spurs going to struggle for goals? And I think this is a sign that when Harry Kane is in the side, and also when Son is pulling the strings out wide on the left, they have goals in them. And obviously, it was 2 late goals, but I mean, 2 vital goals for Harry Kane. And there was definitely, a fair bit of pressure kind of going into that kind of last kick of the game, pretty much, the penalty that he had to score that. And, well, for a player who, as you mentioned, is still fairly young, even though I think a lot of fans don't really consider him young just because he has been around a few seasons now.
23.
It was just a very impressive performance, I thought, by him, all in all.
I'm glad you mentioned Son, because I thought in the second half he was their standout performer. He's so vastly improved from the player last year that we saw at Spurs.
There's a move to Real Madrid on the horizon.
Well, I'm annoyed. I put him in my fantasy football team last few weeks. He's just not been doing that well. I removed him, and then he does this weekend. Like my fantasy football team, if you don't know, I was doing really well at the start of the year. Like, there's a guy who I used to work with who now works for the FPL, doing like their web shows and stuff, and I'm in the same fantasy league as him. I was keeping up for a while, and now he's just top of the work league by an absolute mile.
Does working at fantasy football give you an innate advantage?
Well, he works as their fantasy football expert, so I imagine he knows what he's talking about.
Yes.
Interesting. Tune in for more details on that next week, listeners. I'm intrigued. So Spurs get the win. West Ham, another defeat, and I wouldn't say that they're not in any. Again, I don't think West Ham are in any danger of going down, but they are only a point now ahead of Hull, who are in 18th. West Ham are 17th. It's not ideal. We've talked for a while about what will happen with Bilic, and I think I dare say I didn't know if he'd still be here at this stage.
He had a very resigned look about him actually at the end of this game. I thought he was kind of just gormlessly staring, thinking, I imagine thinking, how the hell have we lost this? But
he's got quite a scary gormless stare, I think, Bilic.
There was a lot of talk about his position sort of when they initially had that bad run of form at the beginning, in the first few months of the season. And for the last kind of 6 weeks, he's had a sort of a stay of execution. And I think because they picked up a few points, not necessarily a lot of points, but they started to get a few results here and there, that sort of subsided a little bit. Obviously some issues off the pitch as well for West Ham. But now, I think the pressure is back on him, as is with a few managers at this time of year.
I think it says a lot about Bilic, the fact that I think actually if they were still in Europe at this point and they were in this current league position, his job would still be under risk. I feel like obviously the fact that they've been knocked out of Europe, yes, it was a massive kick in the gonads, but at the same time, if West Ham are able just kind of aim for the same kind of spot they were last year in the league, it's kind of all is forgiven, because you don't feel like you're regressing too much. But obviously, the way they've crashed out of the Europa League for the second year in a row, and then this league form, as you said, I'm kind of surprised he's still there. And I think the only thing that's really keeping him safe is the fact that there's probably more harm than good that can be done sacking him and bringing in someone new when the new person's opening games are going to be against United and Arsenal.
Yeah, and then, I'm going to say, Ben, prediction coming up. I think Bilic will be sacked in the evening of the Sunday, the 11th of December, as you kind of touched on there, Jack. 2 away games at Old Trafford, one in the league, one in the cup, and then a home game against Arsenal and an away game at Anfield.
What about the Monday morning, Ben?
No, I think it'll be that evening. 6:06 will be reporting it. Because then, after that, there's a few days, but then they've got Burnley and Hull, then Swansea. And I think for a new manager coming in, that is a darn sight more sort of appetising than 2 trips to Old Trafford, Arsenal and Liverpool.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I think, and as a board, you don't want to appoint a manager who has his momentum killed instantly. So I think Bilic might be kept to the job from his fixtures. Of course, if Bilic then gets West Ham firing against these bigger teams, which he did last year, remember? That was sort of a big thing about West Ham. They would go to these bigger sides and cause problems. Then, he might survive. But I do think with their league position as it is right now, they're probably not going to be like sort of top half, where they'd be expecting to be at Boxing Day, right? They'd expect to be top half. They're not going to be there this year.
What is going on, listeners? Jack here, and we interrupt our usual podcast proceedings to let you guys know about a brand new sponsor here at ForTheFans, Classic Football Shirts. Classic Football Shirts offers a range of classic, rare, retro, vintage football shirts from throughout history and throughout the world of football. Check out their website. You can find it via a link in the description if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on iTunes or elsewhere, you can find it at ForTheFans Show on Twitter, and it's our pinned tweet. Hopefully you guys like the products they have on offer at Classic Football Shirts, and of course they do make ideal Christmas presents in the run-up to the holiday season.
So, problems for West Ham. Another win for Spurs puts them 5th. Should we move on to the next game, gentlemen, or does anyone want to just quickly touch on anything else?
Let's move on.
All right, let's move on. Unbelievably, the second game we're going to talk about this week is West Bromwich Albion 4, Burnley 0. I'll be honest, boys, when we looked at this, I wasn't sure whether we'd be talking about this game this week, but who knew? West Brom are one of the most exciting teams in Premier League football history.
We half delayed the show to take this game into account, and I'm glad we did, didn't we? Because we were like, there's a
justified,
game tonight.
Justified.
And then
I
looked at the Monday night football, and it was West Brom Burnley, and I was like, oh, why are we leaving that? But it was a good job we did.
I enjoyed a funny comment I saw on Reddit, actually, which was that the reason that the USA kind of FA announced Klinsmann's sacking during this game was because the game was like so entertaining, it was going to distract everyone about the fact they'd actually sacked their manager.
Well, I mean, Klinsmann for England?
He's available now.
Klinsmann for West Ham.
Klinsmann for West. Ex-Tottenham.
We're going to end up with a load of American managers just managing every single club in the Premier League by next year.
I'd quite like that. They'll be wearing headsets in no time. I look forward to it. NFL style.
Klinsmann is German, but, yeah.
Well, that's okay. Actually, Callum has made a very good point there, which I think should be brought to Jack's attention. Is that Klinsmann is German, Jack?
See, I can get all these nationalities when we're not doing the feature.
He's from the USA.
But,
in terms of that's where he'd be moving from. I'm trying to dig myself out of that hole there. Someone give me a spade.
He does live in California, so I'll give you that.
Shall I talk about what in my opinion, is one of the worst Premier League performances I've seen?
Can I just say, I just typed in Klinsmann in Google. The third result down is next England manager. So, I mean, it's not great, is it?
Oh, God. Okay. Oh, I wish you hadn't, I'll be honest, Jack, wish you hadn't said that, mate. I was just doing some light-hearted jokes, and then you come in and said something like that.
Anyway, go on. The game?
Yeah, let's talk about the game. Just in case anyone was wondering, by the way, Jurgen Klinsmann one hat-trick in his history in the Premier League. He got 4 against Wimbledon once.
Was it against us? Or?
No, it was Wimbledon, who literally went extinct after it. So that's how impactful that hat-trick was.
Burnley, first half. There were a few moments that I wanted whatever Sean Dyche had given them prior to going out, because they looked... There was one moment when Tom Heaton... sort of was trying to pass it between his two centre-halves, and then did a little bit of a Ed Ball Strictly Come Dancing move, and then gave it to, I think it was Rondon. They looked true. I couldn't believe how far they were off the pace they were in the first half. And considering it was against a team that really they should be, if not, beating, but being competitive against and getting a draw maybe. That was why I really thought that the performance was so bad. They were never in the game at any point. And it was over really after 25-30 minutes when the third goal had gone in, after Fletcher tapped it in. Yeah,
well, Tony Pulis did say that one of my most irritating quotes in football. Tony Pulis has come out with after this game. He said, we scored at the right times. I mean, what are the bad times to score at? What time are you scoring and going?
It was a great day for Scotland as well, because the 3 first half goal scorers were all Scottish.
Unbelievable. Yes. They were all getting hat-trick contention. Sorry, I'll stop the hat-trick talk, I can't help it.
Lovely finish from Morrison, I think, for the second goal.
Yeah.
I think.
Do you remember when James Morrison was sort of... He went through a spell a few years ago of being just... Wasn't it? Yeah, just not even a prospect, just like being really good.
You get quite a few fashionable footballers, I feel like, that everyone jumps on the bandwagon of for a few years and they just get forgotten about. I feel like he's that kind of player.
He came through the Middlesbrough youth side when they were producing, at the time, fairly decent players like Downing and Catamol and Adam Johnson. And Morrison was one of those that sort of came through. And he did have those sort of maybe 3 or 4 years where he was still that kind of, young a decent attacking midfielder.
Yeah, it was a few years ago. He obviously got then the move. No, sorry. Then he got the move to West Brom as they went down, I think it was. And then they came back up in the Premier League. He was one of their talisman in the Premier League.
One of their longest-serving players, I would think, by now. So
I would say 8 years, maybe. It must be quite a long time.
A long time of service.
He's seen some. I tell you what, he's seen some managers go through the door, hasn't he? My God, Hodgson, Pulis. What was the other guy name? Oh, I forget his name. Pepe Mel. Was he there as well?
But he's just the guy everyone wants to forget about, I feel like.
Who else has managed West Brom in recent memory? I feel like James Morrison has seen a car crash of managers go through. Mowbray. Oh my. Okay, sorry, I'm going to have to get this up, listeners. I can't sit back and not
no context right there.
Megson? No, he was after Megson.
You get very excited about managers that Morrison has seen.
No, I just realised that the list of managers that have been there while he's been there are just sort of some horrendous kind of clodder managers.
Maybe he's a clodder player.
At least he can sing.
I mean, my favourite stat about this game is the fact that it's the biggest Premier League win for West Brom since they met Burnley 2 years ago when Burnley got relegated previously. It's just like they've been waiting
for this game. Yeah, I feel like
also we should acknowledge the fact that very often I'm criticising West Brom, saying they're a bit boring, show no ambition. I've got to take that all back after this game because I enjoyed watching them. I thought Matty Phillips looked very good, a player who I feel like in the kind of grand scheme of things has been a player who, I don't know, 5 years ago he was kind of touted as being this real prospect whilst at Blackpool playing occasionally.
Imminence, wasn't it?
Yeah, the wingers either side, and they've both fallen out of favour, gone down to the Championship. Of course, Phillips had a few years. I'm trying to think where he's been. Has he been at Derby, QPR?
He's at Derby currently, yeah.
And I don't know. He's kind of come up now into the Premier League, and I thought in this game he looked like a Premier League player.
We just there merged the careers of Tom Ince and Matt Phillips.
They are like one and the same though. One's Scottish and one's English. That's the difference.
We would definitely have got comments about people there. I think Tom Ince had a loan spell at Blackpool after being at Liverpool.
I mean, the fact of the matter is we've now backed up my point previously about Mariner getting the Ox and Gibbs confused and saying that we've all done it because we've just done it there.
Yeah, you did it there.
I mean, Keno interjected and confirmed my confusion.
Yeah, I feel like I say I don't want to comment in the section on YouTube.
I feel like there's a few players
clear, I thought you were talking about Tom Ince. And
why would I be talking about Tom Ince when Matt Phillips had a man of the match performance?
But you said they went different ways in the Championship.
Well, no, but they both did go to the Championship.
Yeah, they did.
Almost award winning.
Almost. We would have won that award if it hadn't been for Matt Phillips and Tom Ince's careers.
Almost award winning.
But no, I feel like it's a rarity actually. You see those players who kind of fall out of favour, then come back to the Premier League and shine. And whilst you can't really use one game to justify, Phillips as a Premier League player, I think he has actually surprised me this year. He's actually looked like a bit of a catalyst in what I want to say is a little bit of a bland West Brom team.
Well, unbelievably, Jack, West Brom are now 9th in the Premier League.
Pulis has got to be careful. If he plays too much attractive football, he's going to get poached. They're in pretty decent form, West Brom. And actually, you did say...
England?
Maybe.
England?
Yes, England. I like this.
Southgate yet to be appointed.
It's a late charge as Alan Pardew dips out of the running. Pulis is thinking hello. Although I know Pulis is Welsh, though, technically, so maybe you won't want that poison chalice that is England.
But
imagine
Jack,
that. Sorry, you can just see that happening, can't you? The FA knock on Tony Pulis' door. Tony, would you like to be... No, thank you. I do not want that. And then we're left with the situation of Tony Pulis turning down the England job. Oh, what a world we might one day live in.
To be fair, Jack, you were right about Matt Phillips because he did score a very good goal against Leicester and has been pretty hot for them in recent weeks. So a part of their little renaissance that's happening under Big TP.
Yeah, shall we? I mean, we won't talk about Burnley. We'll move on for the sake of Burnley fans. Another team, another surprising win was 19th placed Sunderland. Have beaten Hull, who disappointingly now for me have 10 points. Obviously, I did predict 8. I don't know if Hull will get any more from this point on if they're losing 3-0 to Sunderland, though. And Ichibi, I mean, talk about a renaissance of form. He's back.
From a West Brom man as well.
Of course, he would have seen some managers as well. But no, he's bagged a couple. I mean, there's a stunned silence.
He looked like a handful. That's the Ichibi I remember was a player who was a bit of a brute. He wasn't particularly elegant, but he was able to hold up the ball well. And I feel like Defoe has longed for a strike partner, someone who can flick it onto him and can actually stand next to him. And I feel like an Ichibi's the man.
Little man Nice little big man, little man combo they've got going at Sunderland. I think
Yeah.
Jack said that's the Anachiba he remembers. That's the one that David Moyes remembers as well, because he obviously brought him through at Sunderland.
Everton.
Everton, sorry. Yeah.
Are you okay today, Callum? He didn't clap. We do a clap sync before the podcast. He couldn't actually remember how to clap. So, I mean...
It was a lovely moment.
And then I had a horrendous feature, and now I'm sitting here talking to you guys.
I should say, by the way, do you know how... Okay, 2 questions on NTV. How old do you think he is?
Like 33.
He's 28. Jack went with 33. I mean, he could be 33, but we don't know. He's Nigerian.
Yakubu.
Yeah. How many goals do you think he scored in his career? League goals?
How many seasons has he played in a league?
He's been ever since 2005, so 11 years.
11 years. I'll stick my head out on the line and go with 28 goals for the 28 years of his life.
I think less, 22. 2 a season. He's bagged his 2.
27.
Oh, I mean, pretty close.
27 league goals. He's 28 and a striker. How is he still being allowed?
He was released by West Brom, which I felt...
But Jack, he's never been out of the Premier League. From the moment he had that 1 goal in 2 games at Everton in 05-06, he's continually played in the Premier League.
Has he got 3 goals so far this season?
He's
beaten his career average for goals in a season in November. We should be celebrating.
He had 2 prolific seasons for Everton where he got 5 and 6 in years.
He peaked there.
Yeah, he had 2. They were pretty prolific. Actually, 5 and 12 one year.
Actually, it's just reminded me of my favourite thing about this game, which is funny because as Anachibi ran off for his second goal on the celebration, you could see him mouth, "Oh my God." You can go and watch that.
With a slightly different context, that's very, very enjoyable.
With that context that we've just put behind it, I think that makes it even better.
I like, though, that David Moyes, after seeing him score 18 in 130...
That's worse than Cameron Jerome, isn't it?
He then went to West Brom, where he scored 6 in 55... And Moyes has gone, I'll take him, 3 and 4 he's got now. So it's
Moyes
incredible.
Knows everything. He knows all.
I mean, it sounds 27 in 190 sounds bad, right? Career total 38 in 234. He's a striker.
It's worth noting as well. This win takes Sunderland off the bottom of the table.
Sorry, I'm not moving off this yet. All you've got to think, right? What is he thinking going into games, knowing that for like 200 games he just hasn't scored? As a striker, what are managers thinking when they pick him? Why is he still being picked?
It's 20 years since, and I can't remember the guy's name. It's a bit of trivia, but there was a player who... there was like a bit of a prank. It was when Souness was at Southampton. It was 20 years ago this week, where there was a guy basically rang up claiming to be George Weah's cousin, and someone faked a phone call. If people don't know this,
Ali Dyer.
That's the name. Yeah. But basically, someone rang up Souness pretending to be George Weah, was like, oh, my cousin's a really good footballer, you should give him a contract. So he had a month-long contract given to him at Southampton. He played a training session on the Friday, and apparently he was awful by all accounts, because, spoilers, he wasn't the cousin of George Weah, and he wasn't a very good footballer.
Yeah.
But then...
Started a Premier League game, though.
He did, because the next day, Letitia was surprised to find out that the backup option to him on the bench was this lad. And, unfortunately for Letitia, he got injured after 33 minutes, which meant that for 60 minutes...
As he was wont to do.
They had to bring on this guy who wasn't a footballer and was actually subbed off midway through the second half. Because he was so bad.
It's a great story, it really is.
Maybe that's Anichibi changed identities
the thing that annoys me is that, right, like keepers like Peggy Arpeck said, keepers that don't really play... Mark Bonn, right? We've given Mark Bonn pelters on this show. But, Anichibi's stolen a career as a striker, a Premier League striker for 11 years with 27 goals, 28 goals.
We've just lost one listener on Weir side. Listeners.
Like, I respect it in many ways. That he's continuing to get... His agent is the best agent you've ever seen.
I mean, maybe the secret is like Jermaine Defoe just has to play with him. He's been used the wrong way all these years.
But the problem is, Jack, Jermaine Defoe's 35, so he's only going to have like another year of being any good. Anyway, we'll move on. Sorry, Victor, if you are listening.
We haven't said a word about the game.
Can I just say, you've completely shat on a professional footballer. I just don't think it's very nice, but it's warranted.
Sorry, you gave Coleman a right hard time.
Yeah, but he deserved it.
I mean, he was good. So yes, again, sorry, Victor, if you watch. I mean, congratulations on your 2 goals. Hopefully, I've not ruined it for you.
Two pretty good finishes as well, actually.
I know, surprise, more. Stop it. We'll move on. Hull, another defeat. Mike Phelan, ever since he's taken charge, It's not been great, has it?
It hasn't, and my worry for them is that Hull kind of rode off the fairy tale early on this season of being the underdogs. They had that opening game against Leicester.
Very short fairy tale.
And it was like, oh, they have no players, they don't have a manager, and it was kind of like, yeah, we need to perform and be really good. Since that Bournemouth result, I've been worried for them. And when you lose 3-0 against Sunderland and Ichibi grabs 2, like, I'm very worried for you. That's like when you go from worried to very worried.
Why are you slagging off an Ichibi? He's prolific.
Against Hull.
Yeah. Well, next week at Ichibi, I don't know who does Southampton. Southampton. Who does Sunderland play next week?
We'll find out for us.
Hull play West Brom, so that's going to be interesting at Hull as well. Like I know, I mean, we shouldn't
Sunderland
say that,
v
like
Liverpool. We should have known that, Ben.
Oh,
if Ichibi scores now and we lose against Sunderland,
to be fair, ex Everton, Moyes and Ichibi. I'm pretty sure he scored against Liverpool in the past. I'm
actually a little bit worried now. I feel like you've set this up, and the way the world works, he will now score like a hat trick.
Yeah, he will. It's going to be awful. Okay, elsewhere, the biggest game on pay for this weekend was Manchester United 1, Arsenal 1, in which what was one of the. I mean, we're literally coming from West Brom, Burnley, Sunderland, Hull, but this was by far the worst game of the weekend.
My favourite thing about this game, it says a lot about the game, was the story of the fact there were 2 foreign exchange toilets. You'll know why I've got that wrong in a second. 2 foreign exchange students who went on the Old Trafford tour.
Tell me more about these toilets.
Well, they went the toilets. They went on an Old Trafford tour, and they hid in the toilets themselves overnight on the Friday. Slept in the stadium, and were found on the Saturday morning before the game. They didn't have tickets to the Arsenal United game, and they were trying to sleep in at the stadium and then just stay in the ground basically for the game.
But they were found and kicked out.
They were, which I feel like if I found them, I'd be kind of like, oh, yeah, stay here. I'll make sure no one finds you. You can watch the game.
This is why Jack no longer works at Old Trafford.
It's true. I don't work in stadium security. But I mean, they slept in the toilets. I feel like for a lot of fans, they would have slept during this game. And Arsenal's first shot on target of the entire game from Giroud was, it was very FM-y. A last-minute goal with the first shot on target for the team who are on the back foot for large spells there. I feel like for United, the big issue and the fact they're going to be annoyed with this result is the fact that they had opportunities really to win this game and kill the game off way before the 89th minute.
As I said, sorry guys, hello.
Are you okay? You forgot how to talk now and clap.
As I said at the beginning of the show, right, in comparison to the West Ham Spurs game, this one was also 2 teams that, obviously, Man United in the last few years, at least post-Fergie, have been chronically hapless in almost everything they do. Like, they can't get much right. And Arsenal are chronically hapless in games, like big games that they should win.
Against teams like Manchester United, yeah.
Exactly. And it was a meeting of these two, not unlucky, just hapless teams. And they did everything they could to try and not win the game. I mean, for most part, that was Arsenal being terrible, like uncharacteristically awful in comparison to how they've been so far this season. I thought Sanchez was... I love Alexis Sanchez as a player, and normally I think Wenger this year has been spot on tactically. He was dropping so deep in this game that he was totally ineffective. Like one of the good points about playing him as a number 9 is that he does sort of drop in between the centre halves and the midfield and create a bit of uncertainty. But in this game, he was coming so deep, like almost level with Coquelin and El Neni, that there was no attacking impetus at all. And I think that was one of the main reasons for their sort of ineffectualness in front of goal. So for the most part of the game, it was Arsenal being rubbish. And then even when you thought that Man United had actually got, and Jose Mourinho had got this statement win that Gary Neville for the whole game had said that they really, really needed, they managed to put Marcus Rashford at left back for a few minutes and gave away what, to be fair, was a pretty good goal. It was a great cross from Oxlade-Chamberlain, a very good header from Giroud, but just the way in which both teams can manage to just screw up at certain points at the moment, at least.
Arsenal have gone to Old Trafford, had 55% possession and 1 shot on target, which was obviously their goal in the 89th minute, which to me sums up the game.
It was the first goal, this goal in this game, that Arsenal side had against the Mourinho team since 2007. So obviously Wenger has not seen a goal against Mourinho in 9 years.
Amazing.
Is that true?
Yeah, there was lots made about that.
It was, yeah.
And I don't necessarily buy into the whole managerial rivalry thing, but I feel like Wenger's got to look at it and go, well, this is ridiculous. We need to at least score I mean, imagine it could have been 10 years had it not been for that late goal.
I think Arsenal will look at it as a point gained, essentially, and United will certainly see it as 2 dropped. If you're going to... I mean, I think they're 12 shots, 5 on target, whatever it was, which was vastly more than Arsenal. I think if you dominate the game for as long as they did, and I know they didn't have more possession, but they certainly looked the team more likely to score, although neither team really looked like scoring, they look more certain to score. To concede in the 89th minute, it's a problem, and it continues to. I think it continues to leave Mourinho with question marks, because this is sort of game. Like, as much as people go, look, you're saying like it's Mourinho's fault that they've conceded last minute against Arsenal. Well, actually, yeah, I kind of am, because if he's got this record where Arsenal don't score against him, and he takes that into this game, and then not only do Arsenal score, but it costs them points. That gives Mourinho a few more headaches, and it makes me wonder if at the back they're really as strong as we might think they are. And I don't know. I still think that's an area that United, despite spending massive amounts of money in the summer, still need to improve. And I mean, traditionally they won't do it in January, so this is kind of the squad until the end of the season now.
As I mentioned, I totally agree with that, and I think the way that the second goal, the first goal, the second goal in the game, the Arsenal goal was conceded with Marcus Rashford in the left back position up against Oxlade-Chamberlain in the 89th minute. It does, as you say, leave a few question marks as to how he's setting them up to close games out in those times.
They've had injuries, but to me, if you're a squad that, again, they're like, United aren't one of these teams that aren't in Europe that have got a thin squad. They're in the Europa League. So to me, Mourinho should have maybe emphasised more on his defensive areas. And although Eric Bailly's injured, they still need an extra someone in there to make them stronger. Like, no one is going to ever convince me that Daley Blind was bought as a centre back or is a very good centre back. He's a good footballer, I don't doubt it, but as a very good centre back, I'm not necessarily convinced. The fact he's up there as one of the first choices, one of the first names on the team sheet, ironically enough, he didn't play centre back on this occasion, but we've seen him in the past play. Like, Phil Jones came in. I didn't see Phil Jones for ages. I don't know. I still feel like they need more bodies there.
The Arsenal team, they were talking about how much both squads cost prior to the game on Sky. The United squad that was there against Arsenal on Saturday was over twice the amount of the Arsenal team. I can't remember the exact figures, but the United was 300+ million, and the Arsenal one was around 150-60 million.
Kind of on the flip side of that, right? That's Phil Jones' second game this season. He's barely played any football for the past 2-3 years. And I guess in some respects, he kept Arsenal very quiet. So you got to give him some degree of credit.
Just quickly to finish this off, actually, what you mentioned, I think Arsenal kept themselves quiet, and you mentioned, it will feel like a point gain for Arsenal. I think from a fan's perspective, at least how I would personally see it, was that they were so bad again against a big team in a big game that although they got a point, it will just feel like they saw the same old Arsenal turn up at Old Trafford
this time of year as well. It's just a bit like
exactly, and despite the great form that they've been in, not lost since the opening day. I think they were playing very, very well, scoring lots of goals. They still turned up against a team who aren't even in that good form themselves, but have a big name and a big stadium, and they floundered. They were disappointing.
Yeah. Should we do one more game before we start to wrap things up? Crystal Palace 1, Manchester City 2. Torre's back after he's apologised on behalf of his agent, and his agent hasn't apologised.
Why is he still his agent? Like, I'm confused by this whole thing.
I think it's probably Jack because he's on 220 grand a week or whatever it is, and his agent was quite a big part of that. And will probably be quite a big part of him getting his next move to China or America or wherever he likes to go.
I feel like there's better agents out there, if I'm honest.
Are there? I mean, find some. Paul Pogba's agent said, it's me, Jack. You could do it.
Yeah, call me.
Right.
I'll remember your birthday.
Oh, lovely. But yeah, 2-1. Yaya Toure at the double. And before we get on to him, massive question marks over the future of Alan Pardew. Could be the next manager to go.
He should be the next manager to go.
He's the bookie's favourite to go right now in the Premier League.
And I mean, there is big talk that if they don't get a result against Swansea, it's away at Swansea on the Saturday coming, then that will be the end
I
of
could see
Alan
them
Pardew.
winning that and he still gets sacked, if I'm honest. If I'm a Palace kind of board member, one win against the team at the bottom isn't going to save a man, and it would surprise me greatly if they aren't at least looking at the options now going into kind of the next week or two.
I dare say the trigger will have been pulled a lot earlier had Hull, Sunderland, and Swansea looked quite good this year. If any of those three teams had looked like they were going to be up for a Premier League fight more so than they have done, I think all three teams have been relatively poor, then Crystal Palace would have looked at that and gone, oh, bloody hell, we are in this. This could be sort of, I can't think of what the word is, but this could be dreadful very, very quickly. And at this point, Palace are now realising that if Swansea beat them, Swansea go on 9 points, Palace are on 11, and at that point, you are looking at the relegation. Like, they could be in the drop zone.
I think they might even switch their manager before this game. Their next few games, they've got Southampton at home preceding the game against Swansea, and then they actually play Hull away, and it's just like, you look at those games, those are the games which can single-handedly save a team. Granted, kind of beyond that, they have got to play Chelsea and United, but I feel like these next few games, if they don't get any points, if they were to draw against, say, Swansea and Hull, you'd have to say without a doubt that Palace are in a relegation dogfight. Yeah. And is it better to react now and give a manager a month or so to just assess the squad, work out what's going on going into January, and perhaps give them a little bit of money to invest in? Or bring in a manager following on from that United and those Chelsea games, not really knowing his squad, by which point it's already kind of Boxing Day pretty much the manager's going to be going into, and he's got, a week to decide who he needs to keep and who he doesn't, and who to shift around, kind of going into what will be, I think, for Palace, regardless of the situation they're in, a massive transfer window.
Do you anyone want to hazard a guess at the favourite for the Palace?
If it's not Big Sam, I'm disappointed.
Oh, it's Big Sam.
Excellent. I feel like he's just going to be favourite with every job until he gets a job. So
yeah, any relegation candidate he's in. Chris Coleman isn't too far behind. Pearson, and then Pulis. But we already know Pulis not interested in the move. I mean, he's been there before, Pulis, and was sort of left in really weird circumstances. So I can't imagine he'd go back. Yeah, Allardyce is the favourite for that particular job, which, yes, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
To credit to Alan Pardew, to be the favourite to be sacked in this current field of Premier League managers is quite an achievement.
To be fair, actually, if you'd have told... this is great when you think about it like this. If you'd have told Alan Pardew 3 months ago, you'll be the man... So, Sam Allardyce and you'll be swapping places soon. It'd be going, excellent news,
Oh, yes.
I can't wait for that. Allardyce sat playing in, Pardew almost relegated. Boom, there it is, gone.
He'll be dancing out of Crystals and down the road.
He'll be constantly in there for the next sort of 4 months. I mean,
maybe he'll just move in.
Where will Pardew go next?
McDonald's.
I mean, if we ask you a question, McDonald's, do you think? I think a variety of places. I mean, maybe next year he could present the FBA Awards. That'd be nice.
Well, I hope his language is better than the guy who did present it.
We're not throwing any shots. Not as many as that particular guy did, anyway.
No.
So there we are then. Palace look like they're in a sort of devastating situation.
Let's talk about City and Toure and everything.
It's his first start. I
can't believe it.
Let's go from Pardew to Guardiola, which is obviously such a natural segue.
Guardiola.
He puts Yaya Toure into the team. Bit surprising, I would say. But if the kist are made up, then I guess he may as well play. And then first goal deflected in. Let's not pretend it was some sort of amazing finish. Deflected goal. Then scores the second, and City remain second. Joint second in the table with Liverpool. Do we think then that Yaya Toure has a major part to play in this Manchester City side?
I think he won't play the same role that he obviously did in their previous title-winning seasons. However, if he can sort of get back to even 3/4 of the level that he did show for the whole year that time, he can be a really, really good option for City and Guardiola to call on off the bench or, in the odd game, with this being a perfect example. I think while it's not a deal breaker for them anymore, whether Toure's fit or not, as it might have been in the past, it's still a very, very nice option to have while he's still at the club. And it just adds that extra dimension of sort of, scariness to the City squad.
Scarily good City.
And what they can do. Yeah.
Yeah, scarily good. Hang on. Slow down, Jack. Are you switching the scarily good from Palace?
It can stay with...
For how long? How long can it stay, Jack? As long as they're a Premier League team?
As long as Pardew's there. Well, I actually feel like part of the issue Pardew's got is there's some managers, I'm looking at the likes of Deitch, who you kind of look at and it's like, well, you've not got a great squad, as much as you can't...
He could be someone.
I don't think he will be, because I think Burnley have a precedent for sticking with him, and obviously they stuck with him last time he was relegated with them.
I actually think, you saying he could get the Palace job?
Yeah. Is that
I don't think so.
I think the difference between, say,
too much out there?
Burnley and, say, Palace is I actually think Palace have some quality in their side, and also they have spent
Exactly.
a lot of money with the likes of Benteke. You know, Benteke's transfer spend is bigger than Burnley's was for the entire window. That's
quite a lot.
So would a manager like Sean Dyche lick his lips at that opportunity? I don't know whether they'd offer it him, but they've given it to Tony Pulis in the past. So if they really need to stay in the
I don't think he has, and I feel like for Palace, they see themselves as a Premier League club, and I think they'll be aiming higher than Dyche, and I think they'll be looking for someone who saved them before.
Allardyce.
Like Allardyce.
Allardyce is sat in Crystals as we bloody record. He's waiting. For those who don't know, by the way, for those who know what we're talking about, Crystals is the strip club, essentially, nightclub, strip club, just outside of Selhurst Park. So just for a reference there. I mean, we took it away from City there. Do we still? I mean, they're my favourites of the league, Jack. I think you said that as well.
Yeah.
Are we still convinced by City or are Chelsea and Liverpool making us wonder?
Chelsea.
My prediction: Chelsea.
I mean, Chelsea have won now 6 in a row. Obviously, Costa the first man this year to hit double figures.
Conceded none in
I
those
feel
6.
like the issue is you kind of just compare Chelsea to City, and they're two very similar squads. I feel like Kompany's knee injury that he's now picked up is going to be a massive problem because I feel like he is the kind of man that while City, they've not been able to rely on him for a number of years now. When he's fit,
Yeah, I was gonna say
he is the man who I think ties the whole team together. And I think actually for City, the concern for them is that defensively they just look very susceptible. Going forward, exciting players like De Bruyne, Sterling, Aguero, Silva. There's more players to add to that list too. But defensively, yes, they brought in Stones. Yes, they've got Otamendi and co. There's still a question mark for over their defence. Whereas, as Kino mentioned, for Chelsea, lots of clean sheets. This new system that they're using is working absolute wonders. And I feel like that is going to be the difference because I think with the exception of that defensive quality that Chelsea are displaying, the two sides actually can draw quite a few parallels in terms of the types of players they have and the ways they have options, I guess, to play.
Yeah. I guess on that, they play in 2 weeks. So we're going to get to see, aren't we?
That will be a fantastic game.
Yeah.
And you know that the media like to make a big deal over certain matches, but I think that would genuinely be one of the most interesting Premier League matches we've seen in a while. Do you know what will also be quite an interesting match, Kino? The rematch, which is happening this coming weekend, which is Spurs away at Chelsea. Obviously, when I say rematch, I mean good.
compared to when Hazard scored last season.
Yeah.
So that'll be happening again. Obviously, Tottenham kind of lost their shit, didn't they? Essentially, it'll be under the lights again. It's an evening, it's a 5:30 kickoff, and with the current climate called winter, that'll also be a night match. I do wonder for Spurs if they'll have a few bad memories of that particular place and those particular lights. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Right then, so that kind of wraps up the main games we're going to talk about. Is there any other business, gentlemen? I mean, Liverpool got a point. A very well-deserved point against
Southampton impressed me. I thought for Leicester, big concern. So they're now 2 points above the drop, 1 point in 6 away games this season.
They have we talked about crucial Champions League games. They have a massive one tonight against Bruges, I think. Is it Bruges?
Yeah, if they win, they're through. Officially through.
Yeah.
Probably going to top the group as well.
It's amazing to me that they're probably going to get into the round of 16 in the Champions League and be potentially in the relegation zone fairly soon.
Worth noting elsewhere, Bournemouth picked up their first away win of the season and ended Stoke's 6-game unbeaten run.
Yeah, a massive result for Bournemouth because you want to see from a Bournemouth perspective, you want to keep seeing sort of points tick over for them. Otherwise, they'll be dragged in. That's not what
Swansea were winning a football match. Were winning. I
was going to ask, are they still rubbish? Are they still rubbish or are they?
I dare say they're still a bit rubbish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
they scored a penalty.
No need to say them.
They scored a penalty. Coleman got an 89th minute equaliser.
Well, worth noting that with Everton, only 1 win in their last 7 now. They were a team who actually, very early on in the season, were kind of in the top 5 or 6 and looked solid, but that's long gone.
They did look very good. It's crumbled. And then, I mean, you mentioned Leicester Watford, did you?
I did indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that pretty much, I think, unless I've missed anything else, brings us to the end of the show. If you have enjoyed listening, do leave a like on the YouTube video. If you're watching on iTunes or listening on iTunes, do rate the show on there. YouTube.com/ForTheFans show for a show every single week, as well as on iTunes and at ForTheFans show on Twitter. Thank you again for voting for us in the FBA Awards. We do appreciate all the votes. To say over 1,000 of you did it on Twitter over the last month or so. So we do appreciate that. Sadly, we didn't quite win it though. Next year, boys, definitely going for it. I think again. We go again.
We go again.
Yeah.
Just
Go
don't
again.
don't utter those words.
We're gonna have to start sort of offering out more things. I think. I don't know what we're going to offer out. Jack, maybe you should just become a cuddly animal.
How about, Ben? I've got an idea.
Okay.
How about a classic football shirt?
Potentially, yeah. And stay tuned to the end of the show to hear a little bit about that. Classic football shirts. Is it co.uk or com? Oh, God.
Co.uk.
.co.uk.
Co.uk. Right then, that does bring us to the end. Callum, thank you for joining me as ever.
Thank you very much. I feel like I've not woken up, but I feel like I've got a bit better.
Oh,
as
good.
this show's
Well,
gone
brilliant.
on.
I'm glad this served for that purpose only.
Do another show now, just a retake.
Yeah. Yeah. International special.
Let's have a feature at the end instead of at the
Steady
beginning.
on. I mean,
Maybe
okay,
I'll-
who's
maybe
got
I'll do it.
who's got Hattrick against Villa? No, I'm joking. Jack.
Everyone.
Jack, everyone. Correct. Point. Jack, pleasure as
Thank
always.
you. Glad to win another feature. Adding that to
Of
my
course you are.
collection. A route.
We will see you again next week. Some big games coming up this weekend, so look out for them from us at For the Fans Show. We'll see you again. We're Love with Care. If we're not Benji, you can call me Ben, and we'll see you again. Goodbye. Goodbye. Wave, everyone. Wave. Are you waving, Jack? Cheers, Callum. No, you're not.
It's a magnificent sculpture of a gold Benji. It's perfection. Keener, I think you're going to have to be calling for an oxygen mask over here, my friend.